good to know that there's. Oh, I don't ever see you do that at all. Oh, well, look at that.
Hey, we haven't got that much way to get, have we?
I've made it this far, so I don't have to go back up there just one.
You know, when I first was elected, we were going to some of these municipal league meetings. There was this woman from Hammock, Pelican, and she's a mayor for a long, long time. And she gets on the podium and she was drunk. And the first church took the microphone away from her and she was revealing things and the people sitting around the people listening. I was like, wow, she's going to regret this for a long time.
The key is to not drink before the song.
I like how the copies of Silas as you read them.
Oh, is it?
All right, I'm going to go ahead and call to order the regular meeting of the City Council for December 5th, 2022. I heard from Councilmember Holt he will not be able to make it this evening, but we still do have a quorum. So with that, the invocation and pledge of allegiance will be led by Councilmember Gardner.
Let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, thank you, Lord, for this day, and we're thankful especially for the changing of the seasons and the wonderful rain that we've had in our area the last couple of weeks, God. Thank you so much for all the blessings that you give us here in Maumelle, and we had such a great weekend celebrating Christmas in our community with so many different events going on, and we just are thankful that we get to enjoy this city that we live in, Lord. Please be with us this evening as we conduct the city's business. Father, we always ask for wisdom in everything that we do, that we can make the best decisions for the residents that live here. In your Son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilmember Gardner. Next up is the approval of the minutes from the November 21st regular meeting. Y'all have received a copy of that in the council packet. If there's no discussion, I'd entertain a motion to adopt those minutes.
So moved. Second.
I've got a motion and a second to adopt the minutes of the November 21st, 2022 meeting. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed, no. Motion carries. I don't believe we have any public comment cards at this time, so we will move on to the procedural motion. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to have all ordinances and resolutions read by title only.
So moved. Second.
I've got a motion and a second. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed, no. Motion carries. We'll move on to unfinished business. The first item of unfinished business is the Civil Service Commission appointment. This time we are down to just 2 applicants and not 3, so it should be a little bit easier. You all have received a copy of the letters in the council packet. Those of you that were here at the last council meeting had an opportunity to talk with each of the applicants, but we were unable to come up with a majority to select them, so the final 2 folks are here again. What we'll do again this time is bring them up and have them introduce themselves to you again, and just give each person a moment to talk. We can go in the order received, and that would be Mr. Williams first and Ms. Hughes second. I would ask, it's an open public meeting, so we can't ask you to leave, but I would ask if you're willing, Ms. Hughes, to step out for the grilling questions so you don't get an advance notice on that. And then Sam Williams, if you could please come on down, introduce yourself to the council for the first time ever.
Good evening, I'm Sam Williams still. I live at 200 Bay Point Cove here in Maumelle. I've lived in Maumelle since 2000 when I came here as your police chief, where I served until 2019. Prior to that, I spent about 24 years with the Little Rock Police Department in several ranks, from cadet officer, detective, sergeant, lieutenant, captain, and sometimes acting assistant chief. So, I feel like I'm just going back over and there's no sense in most of y'all hearing all this again. There's not a lot to it. I enjoy Maumelle very much. I enjoy serving the community, and that's what I am asking y'all to allow me to do, is to continue to serve in some capacity. The Civil Service Commission is something that I am familiar with. As I said in my letter, I've been on every side of the fence of the Civil Service Commission. I was in a protected rank the entire time I was in Little Rock, and of course, the police chief does not receive civil service protection in Maumelle. I have been a part of promotions in several states and in several cities in Little Rock. I have been a part of disciplinary hearings in Little Rock, and also been called as a subject matter expert in civil service hearings in other parts of Arkansas. I am certainly here to answer any questions you may have. I just throw that out there, and whatever you got.
Thank you, sir. Just for the record, did you have anything to say, Councilmember Williams?
Yes, I will recuse myself from any discussion in this vote in this issue.
Thank you. You had mentioned that at the last meeting, but just to make sure that it's in these minutes as well. Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Williams? All right. If we could bring in Ms. Kelly Hughes. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Williams.
Once again, with two members short, we've got to have unanimous selection.
Maybe. Come on down. I know this is a totally foreign concept and you haven't introduced yourself to any of us
I was
yet.
going to say, this is going to be a rehash of what we talked about last time. Kelly Hughes, 30 years of experience in HR, primarily in employment, labor law, that kind of thing. And, last 10 years have been spent in the city of Little Rock, where I handle the police and fire promotional processes. I do get to play with other departments every once in a while, but primarily police and fire, recruitment, retention, that kind of thing.
Great. Are there any questions? Covered them all last time. Thank you very much. Makes it easy. Thank y'all both for coming out again. Hopefully we can make an appointment. So what we'll go ahead and do is pass out the ballots, and they've been passed out already. You should have one in front of you. Please make sure that when you fill them out, you write your name so that it's legible, and pass them on down. And just as a reminder, we need 5 votes to make an appointment. We are down 2 council members from the room, and 1 abstention means there's 5 council members voting.
I'm not sure I like those odds.
Okay, we have a vote of 3-2, which is as close as you can get at the moment. So the next issue is to just, I guess, revote or open the floor for discussion. I think that we do need to make an appointment if at all possible. And so rather than just send out another round of ballots, if there's anyone that has anything they'd like to add, please do so now. Okay, can we send out another ballot? We're staying here until someone gets done.
Extra ballots are at each seat.
Extra ballots are at each seat, okay. So the,
Maybe they're all right there, never mind. I got you. They're close to each seat.
I don't have a
There's,
picture.
there's one over here.
There you go.
Oh, I'm
By
sorry.
each seat, they were over here by me.
We have a majority.
What?
We have majority, Sam Williams. We're changing the vote. Unanimous?
we're closer, we are closer. Looks like we have 4-1, right now. Councilmember Mosley?
Make a motion, we table this till the next meeting.
Do I hear a second on that motion? Councilmember Gardner?
I was just gonna ask the city attorney if there's any circumstances that allow for or a tiebreak of any fashion for this appointment?
So, the statute just says that when there's a vacancy, it shall be filled by the city council or governing body of the city. Under state law, it's, typically it's a majority of council members, right, who are, the governing body. What we were looking at today is whether the mayor could vote on this. The statutes that allow the mayor to vote, there are 3 different ones, state that he can vote on an ordinance, bylaw, resolution, order, or motion, not an appointment. So, that's where we are.
Mayor, could I address the council?
Yes, sir.
And I have not, obviously, I haven't, again, Sam Williams, I haven't talked to this lady about this at all, but to resolve this somehow, I would suggest that y'all say how the vote is going, and if I'm the one that's got the one, I'll be more than happy to back out. But it seems like, and if she would agree to that, at least you'll have somebody to fill a fairly important position. So whoever is in the minority, if it's me, I'll be more than happy to withdraw, and you can fill your civil service vacancy. But of course, it'd be up to her to do the same thing. So if y'all could just tell us which one's in the minority.
The record of the
I'll
votes
leave.
is a matter of public record. We've typically just done it by ballot that is then held in the clerk's office as a matter of record for purposes of heck, I don't really know why. I think the reason was so as to not hurt people's feelings or something along those lines. Councilmember Mosley?
Yeah, I'd hate to see either one of them back out and make the decision for us. I think we ought to wait until we get more council members here and do the process and for the council to actually select it instead of them making an arrangement between them.
Councilmember Shin?
I guess my only question is, the next meeting is the week of Christmas? Are there members who know they will not be here at this point in time. Otherwise, we'll be right in the same boat with just different absentees.
Even if one is gone, we're doing the same thing over again.
At least until January, or I mean, when there will be a new representative for Ward 1, as Councilmember Saunders is not well enough to attend. I don't have any reason to believe that he will be well enough for the next meeting. I think one of the issues that we have is there's an appeal coming before the Civil Service Commission here soon, so.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir. Come on down.
Billy Harrington, Chairman of the Civil Service Commission. Indeed, we do have a police termination hearing coming up on January 11th. This is fortunately fairly unusual in Maumelle. We don't have to do these very often, but they're very serious. This is a longtime tenured veteran who happens to be a lieutenant. It's the highest I've ever heard an appeal for in the 16 years I've been on the commission. What we have next week, a week from tonight, is our last meeting before that. And I have asked Madam City Attorney to review the process of appeals, because it's not something we do all the time, so never hurts to hear it again. And if you wait until the next meeting, whoever you choose is going to miss out on that review of how appeals go. So I don't know what you have to do tonight. It certainly would not throw us out of business on that appeal if there were only 4 of us. But someone's job is on the line, and I would really prefer that we be fully staffed when we examine that question. So I'm going to ask you to do whatever it is it takes for you to do tonight, however you want to resolve this. But I would sure like to have that new commissioner on hand a week from tonight when Madam City Attorney reviews the appeal process. Any questions for me?
Yes, so would it be completely inappropriate for both the candidates to attend the meeting in lieu of a possibility, or no knowledge that one of them?
No, they are perfectly free to attend that if they choose to do so on their time.
That would take away the time crunch, that way.
Right.
They'd both be up to speed.
They are perfectly free to do so if they would choose to do
One of them have
that.
to do work that they,
Yeah,
for fun.
it's a lot of fun, yeah.
Councilmember Tierney, was that what you had your button pushed for?
Right.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Mosley?
Yeah, your meeting on January 12th would be after 2 more council meetings. But I understand this appeal thing. Is this something you could provide them in writing to where a new person could just review it in writing after your next meeting before the January 12th?
The appeals hearing is actually January the 11th, and the meeting where I'll go over the PowerPoint and discuss issues of when you need to recuse and what the procedure is and how the meeting runs and all that will be December 12th, which is a week from today. I can give them the PowerPoint, but it's probably, or they could listen to the recording. But there will be, things that I'll talk about that are not on the PowerPoint.
And I understand that y'all are gonna have 2 meetings before then, but we're not. We've got 1 meeting a week from tonight before that appeal in January.
Again, I hate to see us pressured to do something just to get this done without the council voting with our normal procedures. So.
Well, if we had a normal number of council members here, perhaps we could vote in a normal way, but do we have reason to believe that in your next meeting there will be a normal number of council, members here. It's not, I'm not hearing that. So how long do we keep waiting until there's a normal number of council members here before we make a decision on this?
Thank you, Mr. Harrington. So I believe we do have another set of ballots. We'll go ahead and pass those out. We'll go through this again, and the motion to table, was there a second on that? Motion dies for lack of second. Do you all already have the ballots?
No.
Do you each, Councilmember Shannon and Tierney, you have one? We have 4-1 vote again for the third go-round. If there's no reason to believe that the votes will change, then I suggest not hanging out on this, and we'll just have to, I mean, there's a lot in the balance, but if we're not gonna make any progress here, then it doesn't make sense to just stay on this issue. I'll open the floor for any comments right quick. And then if no one has anything to say, we'll say that the position remains vacant for lack of ability to receive a majority of votes in an appointment. Going once, going twice. Sold. All right, we'll go ahead and postpone this at least until the next council meeting. To both of the applicants, thank you both for coming. I think at this juncture, everyone has heard from both of the applicants that would be here. So I think we might get Councilmember Holt back. Y'all are welcome to attend the next meeting, but maybe we'll just keep, you guys have already put some time into coming a couple nights, so absent any objection from the council, I guess we can just go ahead without the introductions again next time. Y'all are welcome to come to the next meeting, but there's no guarantee we'll make any more progress then, so your attendance is not necessary. Thank you again, both of y'all, for applying. Y'all have a good night. Thank you. With that, we will move on to the next agenda item, which is the third reading of ordinance 1082 to revise a portion of the city code, section 26-1. Madam City Clerk, if you could please read that by title only.
Be it enacted by the City Council of the City of Maumelle, County of Pulaski, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled ordinance number 1082, an ordinance amending section 26-1 of the Maumelle City Code to require publication of the names of businesses delinquent in paying annual registration fees, to increase those fees, to designate a portion of said fees to be paid to the police and fire fund, and for other purposes.
All right, thank you. We'll go ahead and open the floor for discussion. Councilmember Tierney?
Yes, previously the council has approved measures to rewrite the fee schedules to help with the police, fire, animal control, plus the planning and permits departments. During our most recent budget meeting, we heard about how antiquated our fee schedule is for the trash services, and Public Works has asked us to consider rewriting those. This ordinance is intended to help the city clerk's office in the very same way, and I'd ask if Clerk Timmons would like to share her view on this measure.
One thing that I do want to just point out to the council when we're looking at updating our fees, this particular fee, the business permits, the solicitation, and the transient merchant, they were all established in 2003, and that's the last time the fees were even looked at. So that's just one thing to keep in mind, that it's been almost 20 years.
All right, is there any additional discussion on ordinance 1082? Councilmember Tierney?
Yeah, I would also like to point out that, this is a very small, very incremental increase in the fees, kind of cost keeping, and I think it'd be better to do it in tinier increments than it would be to slam them with one big, huge increase at a later time when we realize, hey, we're just too far out of date and we've got to catch up because we're not covering expenses.
If I may, Mayor, just so everyone's aware, our fees are for our commercial businesses, $50. It costs $50 for a commercial business to do business in Maumelle. Our fees for our industrial businesses, $100. That's how much it costs. If you have a home-based business, that fee is $25. If you are a transient merchant, that fee is $75. The fees are nominal, even if we double them. That's just something else to keep in mind. I do not think any of our industrial or our commercial businesses are going to lose a lot of business for $50 or $100. Thank you.
Any additional discussion on ordinance 1082? If not, I'd entertain a motion to adopt ordinance 1082.
So moved. Second.
I've got a motion and a second. Councilmember Mazzoni?
Oh, sorry, that was.
Any additional discussion on ordinance 1082? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Mosley,
No.
Councilmember Mazzoni,
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner,
No.
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Councilmember Tierney,
Yes.
Councilmember Shin,
Yes.
The, the vote is surprisingly, or not so surprisingly, 4-4. And so the motion fails for lack of majority. With that, we will move on to the next item of unfinished business, which is the second reading of ordinance 1084, establishing an improvement district number 18. Madam City Clerk, if you could please read that by title only.
an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Maumelle, County of Pulaski, State of Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled ordinance number 1084, an ordinance to establish and lay off the Maumelle Municipal Property Owners Multipurpose Improvement District number 2022-18 of Maumelle, Arkansas, providing for an emergency and other purposes.
All right, I'll go ahead and open the floor for discussion. Ms. Ziegler, come on down.
Casey Ziegler, 126 Margot Drive. I am here in my capacity as attorney for DeVoe Property Group, attorney also in Maumelle, Nash Law Firm. I have a statement from DeVoe Property Group, LLC. Those are the owners of the district. The neighborhood we live in, Natural Trail Estates, shows us there was a need for a higher-end development. We thought there was no better place to meet this demand in central Arkansas than along DeVoe Bend Lake in Maumelle. The improvement district will own and maintain amenities such as natural trails, kayak launches, entrance landscaping, vehicular and pedestrian gates. We are also considering putting in 2 small water feature fountains and the 2 larger detention ponds that will have annual operation and maintenance cost. The property owners within the development will be responsible for the private roads, and we will have annual assessments set aside for immediate improvements when necessary. At Natural Trail Estates, also in Maumelle, our annual Property Owners Association fee is $550 per year. Our current estimate of cost will be in the same range in annual assessment for DeVoe. A special assessment that is collected with property taxes creates a method of payment that is stable, reliable, and ongoing to the benefit of the purchasers. That's their statement. So I'm here from a legal standpoint. The Arkansas legislature determined under ACA 1494-106 that the city council's only role is to ascertain whether the petitioner asking for the district constitute all the owners of the district, which for this one is DeVoe Bend Property Group LLC. With this being the case, the law requires that it shall then be the governing body's duty by ordinance to establish the district and appoint commissioners named in the petition. The only objection that the law allows for is by the mortgagee that has a first lien on the property. First Service Bank is aware of the petition and has not made such an objection. I'm happy to answer any questions as we go into the third reading at the next meeting, but the law is fairly straightforward when it comes to special improvement districts, that the landowner makes the decisions when it comes to setting up a district on their property. So any questions?
Thank you. Any questions? All right, thank you. What I'm going to go ahead and do, the public hearing on this issue was November 21st, but I will open the floor up if any members of the public did want to comment on this issue. Please feel free to come forward.
Mr. Mayor, I had one comment.
I'm going to, that'll work just fine. I would encourage you to not wait until the last minute every time you hit the button, but feel free, Councilmember Mosley.
I apologize. Yeah, I understand what the law says. I don't know how long you've lived out here, but when I first moved here, there was a developer that kind of abused this situation, and he, in my opinion, and he developed several neighborhoods and rolled a lot of costs of developing those neighborhoods, streets, sewers, all that stuff, and then saddled the prospective buyers with all those costs. And it was special improvement taxes, and that wasn't well communicated when the lots were sold and that sort of thing. And so it ended up becoming a big problem in Maumelle. A lot of, we became a buyer beware community and so on. So I understand that, they're wanting to just do certain things, and but that's my concern, and I've just seen that over the years, and I hate to see that an open-ended type thing like that where it could be done that way again. So that's where I'm coming from. I appreciate it.
I appreciate your concern. I have lived in Maumelle mostly since 1986. And I understand your concern about special improvement districts. We have the same concerns with property owners associations, even more so, that the property owners don't pay their fees on a timely, regular basis, which causes the funds not to be available to keep the improvements that the property owners expect. And this is an easier way to collect it. So when the property owners purchase a property in DeVoe, they know that they're going to be kept and maintained.
Yeah. All right. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. If there's nothing else, this will be on third reading at the next city council meeting. All right, we'll move on to new business. The first item of new business is resolution 2022-54, authorizing the city attorney to seek condemnation. Madam City Clerk, if you could please read that by resolution only, or by title only.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Maumelle, Pulaski County, Arkansas, resolution number 2022-54. A resolution authorizing the city attorney to act pursuant to Arkansas Code annotated 18-15-201 and other state statutory authorities to seek condemnation by eminent domain proceedings of certain properties described herein for the public purpose of constructing and maintaining street, road, and boulevard right-of-way and all necessary and proper easement related thereto for the City of Maumelle's White Oak Crossing Roundabout Project.
Thank you very much. All right, so y'all may recall there's 3 parcels that rights-of-way were needed to be secured for the White Oak Crossing Roundabout. We've secured 2 of those and have been unable to secure the 3rd parcel. So we're just seeking City Council permission to proceed with eminent domain on that. I'll go ahead and open the floor for discussion. Councilmember Mosley?
How will that be determined through eminent domain? How would the price be determined that we'd end up paying them?
Madam City Attorney?
So, the city, as an initial matter, had an appraisal performed, and then, so we've contracted for most of these negotiations with our engineers.
Yes.
So they've communicated the offers. They've, of course, copied myself and the mayor, and we've kind of watched this process as it goes back and forth. And so the property owners rejected that initial offer. We have, and set an amount that they wanted. We've done some counter offers, but we really aren't seeing any progress at this point. They did not come down the last time that we made a counter offer, and we really don't have anything to hang our hat on to justify increasing our offer at this point. They haven't given us any comparable sales that differ from the appraisal that I'm aware of, or any other concrete evidence that we would use to make us go up at this point. So what we would be asking the court to do is to allow us to deposit those funds into the court registry and then go ahead and proceed with the project. And then the court, through a hearing, could make a determination, or we could still, we're still going to be able to negotiate if that's what the property owners want to do. That the court would decide the value for this property. It's a fairly small, piece of property that's just a portion of their property, and then we would, of course, pay what the court told us to pay.
Okay. How big is the little piece? Is it like the size of a residential lot, or?
It is 0.14 acres, or approximately 6,000 square feet.
Okay, that is pretty small. All righty. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Is there any other discussion on Resolution 2022-54?
Mr. Mayor, can we be heard as property owners?
I haven't, if you could fill out a public comment card, please?
Okay.
Can we get one? And then the answer will be yes. Councilmember Gardner?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I had a lot on earlier, I was gonna confirm, but it looks like we're talking about that 6,000 square feet or 0.14 acres. Can you show us on a map, or describe where it is? Is it in the bend of White Oak Crossing?
It is in the bend of White Oak Crossing, yes.
Okay.
It is
southeast corner?
Yes, southeast.
Okay.
Southeast, and the portion that we're talking about is the northern stretch there.
Okay.
So it borders the northern part of White Oak Crossing. I can't pull up my computer on these screens. Y'all can come down and just make sure we get that if you don't mind.
Sure, thanks. We were invited to come speak. Former Mayor Watson, I think, has been involved in this process. He told us you guys were going to hear it tonight. We didn't know that the city had heard it before. My name's Cade Cox. I'm an attorney. I had an office down on Counts Massey for about a decade, and so I met a few of you before. My wife and brother-in-law, Terry and Scott Hall, own this piece of property. They inherited it from their parents when their parents died not too long ago. The city attorney's explanation is mostly correct. The property, however, is on the corner of Counts Massey and White Oak Crossing. So you all been down that road, you know where they meet. The roundabout, when we acquired the land, was gonna be established in a position on that corner to where there'd be easy access to our property, which is the corner lot, from both Maumelle, Counts Massey Road, and White Oak Crossing. Based on where the roundabout's being placed now, we're only gonna be able to access the property from Counts Massey Road. And so we're gonna lose an access point for our property. There's been many occasions where the circuit court has to take into account what the value of the property owner's taking is. And so just because the city's determined it's worth X amount of dollars and they deposit that money in the registry of the court, that's not really binding at all on what the court is going to declare and award us as property owners. The court's gonna have a regular hearing. We're gonna have lawyers. We're gonna present evidence. It's gonna be a drawn-out process. And we just can't understand why the offer couldn't be higher than what has been communicated to date, and would hate to see the city go ahead and approve basically the initiation of litigation, because we do understand that the other two property owners have conceded to the process, but they may not have had as unique of a situation as we have, based on the fact that we're losing an access point. We've talked to appraisers who said losing an access point on a piece of property can damage you up to a quarter, 25% of the total valuation. So if we walk into circuit court in Little Rock and front of our circuit judges, that's going to be our opening comment, is at a minimum it's worth 25% of the appraised value. The city did an appraisal on the property and appraised it at $479,000. So the offers from the city so far have been way south of that number. We have countered. We didn't re-counter to the last counter because the city didn't move high enough to warrant a counter offer at that time. We'll be happy to ask any questions. My brother-in-law is here. His business is adjoining this property, so he's got more hands-on knowledge about it. But basically, we'd ask that the city board not vote on approving ordinance here that's going to immediately lead to litigation when we can still try to potentially get a better counteroffer from the city.
City Attorney Krebs?
Did you, when you say you're losing an access point, do you have a design where an access point has been approved at the location that you're talking about? Have you had access already approved for that?
We haven't made any design plans at all, but just having that stretch taken from us is taking out the access point.
The initial comment was where you guys can get approval, and we can ensure you get approval, but as y'all know, it wouldn't be Maumelle that we'd be getting approval from, it'd be the city of North Little Rock.
The property is in North Little Rock.
The property is in North Little Rock.
And the engineer did, at least by email, state that they would allow you to still have an access point with limited, I think some limited turning or some restrictions, but they would still let you have a driveway.
Sure. So the property, you have to kind of see the property layout in order to understand. It's a long, skinny lot, and the only proper use of it's going to have buildings that are facing access from White Oak Crossing. And so people are going to want to come in and out from White Oak Crossing, but they're not going to be able to. They're going to have to come around and make a left-hand turn across the traffic onto Counts Massey and enter our property the back way. And once we show that to a circuit county judge, I think that the numbers are going to start to inflate substantially.
Councilmember Tierney?
Yes, I had a question for the city attorney. I don't know if he remembers, but Mr. Cox
Yes.
once represented me in a renewal of a trademark, and about 25 years ago. We have not done business since then, but is this a matter I should recuse myself on?
No, you don't have an interest in this property, and you don't have an ongoing personal relationship with these property owners or their representatives, so I don't think you would need to recuse.
I've met several of the city board members, but none of y'all are my active clients, and so.
Exactly.
But it's good to see you all again.
Councilmember Mosley?
Yeah, I would also mention that I know Mr. Cox. I've conferred with him on occasion. I don't think we actually ended up doing any business, but I just wanted to reveal that, so.
Can I make a comment getting back to the access point? So the city of North Little Rock, there's some discussion with the city of North Little Rock engineer, and basically what they did is they looked at the property on Google Earth and they said, oh, you can put an access point right there. It's right past the roundabout, but there's a creek there. I mean, they drew it right on top of a creek. So if we actually tried to put an access point there, there's quite a bit of extra work and cost that would be involved in that. And that's really not an ideal location if the roundabout was not there.
Councilmember Gardner?
Yes, sir. Since this is in North Little Rock, are they doing a companion resolution in their city?
No, so it comes through us, much the same way that the other properties worked out. So it'd be the Maumelle taking it from there. I think all the discussions about the valuation are irrelevant to the question being presented to the city council, which is that we have started negotiations. We've made effort to negotiate. We're not coming to an impasse. We're not coming to any closer. So all we're asking the city council to do is authorize the eminent domain proceedings. As Mr. Cox said, the judge will have the ability to, because we're clearly missing on prices. The project's held up for months now. We're ready to just move forward. And if a court has to make that decision, we're ready to allow them to do that. So that's what we're asking with Resolution 2022-54. If there's no additional discussion, I'd entertain a motion to adopt that resolution.
So moved.
I've got a motion. Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any additional discussion? Councilmember Mosley?
Yes, I'd like to ask our city attorney, do you suppose if we held off for a council meeting that you all could make some better progress in negotiations?
At this point, I don't know what else there is to be said, or, the issue is that in good faith, the city can't really authorize more money for a project that, when we don't have any, we don't have any expert opinion. We don't have any evidence to use of a difference in valuation at that amount. So I don't think we can, without that, I don't think we can come up as much as we are gonna have to. I mean, we're $15,000 apart, but, I mean, we'd be bidding against ourselves at this point, so.
You're just $15,000 apart at this point?
I believe does that sound right?
Yes, and $15,000 above the appraisal of just under $41,000. Listen, it's not just a matter about cost. If it was just move the project forward as fast as possible without regard for being fiscally responsible for taxpayer dollars, then we make the payment and go forward. But at this point in time, we've heard their arguments. Our appraisers, our engineers disagree. We've reached out to North Little Rock city engineers. They are not going to give an approval absent plans. What they're thinking, based on, without the submission of any plans, they're not going to approve it, just like we wouldn't. There's just no reasonable basis to be able to increase the amount of money. Not in good conscience and think that I'm being fiscally responsible with taxpayer dollars.
Okay. For some reason, I was thinking we were arguing over something plus or minus 400,000, but it's 41,000.
The appraisal value is $40,722. Our first offer was that amount. The counter offer was $80,000. We returned with an offer of $45,000, or approximately a 10%, little over 10% increase. The counter offer was $70,000. We offered $55,000, and that was rejected.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, may I make a comment?
No, sir.
Okay, I just think it's a little misleading.
Thank you, sir.
Timeline. That's the way we do business.
We do have a motion and a second. Is there any additional discussion? And to your point, Mr. Cox, I think what you were going to say is there's a few other bounces back and forths there. I withdraw my rejection of that. Please come forward and say that.
Offer was November 30th, and so we're not talking about a month ago. Okay, and $15,000. I don't know if y'all seen legal fees lately, but that's going to go up pretty quick.
If you could say that to the microphone, please, sir.
Sure. We're $15,000 apart, and you're about to authorize protracted litigation in Circuit County Court over $15,000. Or you could give us the $15,000 and we'd be done. Or give us a counter offer going up more than a few $1,000s over the last one.
if y'all authorize them to proceed today, then they're gonna use the threat of eminent domain to try to get a lower ultimate number from us, which could work in many instances, but it's not gonna work in this instance because we believe we've been fair from the beginning. We valued it north of 100,000. We started at 80 in good faith to try to help out the city. We'd ask that you deny the motion, allow them to come back to negotiation, and let us bridge that small gap in order to save the city the attorney's fees moving forward. Thank you.
Let me ask you a quick question.
Sure.
Do you think two weeks you think you guys could work something out in 2 weeks, or is it?
I think we can make a counter offer to their 55 and try to get somewhere. You know, the main point we wanted to be here is to let the city know kind of the process, and you know, these are hard things when you're taking people's land. Nobody likes to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Can you share with us what your counteroffer might be?
I'd have to talk to my clients, and you know, but it's as Mr. Mosley pointed out, it's kind of a small gap.
I hate to do this, but I'd just make a motion and to delay this till the next council meeting, give them 2 weeks chance to negotiate this.
I have a question first for the city attorney. By going into the court with the proceedings that you've decided, if the court did decide it was a higher, then the city would then be able to pay a higher amount, or this just...
Well, the city would have to pay, the city will pay whatever the court orders them to pay.
Okay, and any estimate of what kind of fees that the city might incur by this process?
There'll be some filing fees. I think they're about $300. Does that sound about right? I can't remember what we paid last time. So, as a practical matter, if I file this, then I have to file a motion to withdraw and substitute counsel, and I've got 3 weeks left, so I'm probably going to let Andrew Thornton, who's in the audience today, file this when he starts in January. Because the net effect is the same. The motion to substitute counsel is going to take 3 weeks, or we can wait 3 weeks. So, I mean, there will be a little bit of time before litigation is filed. You know, as far as attorney's fees, I mean, I filed these and initiated litigation on them before. We didn't pay anybody else, and I'm sure Mr. Thornton can do that, go through that process as well.
Okay, so it probably, if we did do the delay that Councilmember Mosley was suggesting, then it would not affect your proceedings at all?
Probably not. I mean, I don't anticipate getting this done in the next couple weeks.
Okay.
And it doesn't really make sense to do it. I mean, when you know you're switching out attorneys in 25 days.
All right, well, given that, I would second Mr. Mosley's motion.
Additionally, it also doesn't do anything negative except put the city in a stronger negotiating position to pass the resolution if it's not going to be filed until January anyways. But we've got a motion and a second on the floor to table this until the next city council meeting. Is there any discussion on that motion? All those in favor of tabling say yes.
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 All opposed, no.
No.
If we could get a roll call vote on that.
Councilmember Mosley?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzoni?
Yes.
Councilmember Gardner?
No.
Councilmember Williams?
Yes.
Councilmember Tierney?
Yes.
Councilmember Shan?
No.
Was that 4-4 again?
I thought it was 4-2.
Well, 4-2 with 2 absences.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That's what got me.
I'll go ahead and vote to table it. Because alternatively, we'll come back and vote on the resolution, so, which needs 5. So I'll go ahead and cast the deciding vote to table this until the next city council meeting. And that concludes this item. The next item on the agenda is Resolution 2022-55, amending the 2022 general street and sanitation budgets. Madam City Clerk, if you could please read that by title only.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Maumelle, County of Pulaski, State of Arkansas, a resolution to be entitled Resolution Number 2022-55, a resolution to amend the 2022 General Street Fund and Sanitation Fund budget.
Ms. Mathis, if you could please come on down.
Good evening. So, one of the things that has kind of been hanging out there as we worked through our audits over the last several years and getting all of our records caught up and then our software conversion was our outstanding accounts receivable. We knew liens had been filed on some, didn't really have a comprehensive list, and so we went and worked with the county to get a list of all the current liens. And that number proved to be much smaller than what was on our books. So, as you all are well aware, we stopped billing the community service fee and the sanitation billing directly in-house back in 2018. So there's not been any new receivables since then. Where liens have been filed and we still have outstanding liens, I'm not requesting to write that off. We're going to leave those amounts on our books, but the reality is that's less than about $10,000 in total. I don't have the exact amount with me tonight, but it was a fairly small amount. Oh no, it's in the resolution, isn't it? $10,996, there we go. That's the outstanding liens that we have on the sanitation. The rest of it has either been collected at some point in time and posted as revenue versus being posted as a payable against an old receivable, or the liens were never filed and we really have no method to collect that at this point in time because it's a pretty old billing because it's somewhere before 2018. A lot of it even is older than that, 15, 16, back in that. So the resolution before you is simply a budget appropriation in the three funds that would allow us to appropriate the expense lines for that bad debt expense, which would then allow us to do those write-offs and stay within our appropriations for the year. It's not something we typically have budgeted the last several years because we don't have ongoing receivables that we should be writing off every year any longer.
Are there any questions? Councilmember Gardner?
Motion to adopt Resolution 2022-55.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed, no. Motion carries. Next order of business is mayor's comments. Just really quickly, the Christmas parade was a real big hit. Thank you to Parks and Rec for putting that on. Thank you. If y'all haven't seen the, if y'all haven't been to the Christmas parade the last couple of years, I think it's been hugely successful moving it to later in the day. It allows for more lights to be used in the parade. I think they had 26, 28 floats. I think they said it's the biggest parade that we've had since they've been keeping track. If you didn't attend or aren't in it, please join. It's becoming quite the shindig. And that concludes mayor's comments. Councilmember comments? Councilmember Mosley?
Yes, I'd just like to thank the police department, Public Works, mayor's office, and the fire department for putting some no hunting signs out on the island and out on the peninsula. Hopefully that'll cut down on gunshots. I've actually heard quite a few less this year anyway, so that may be working, and I think that will serve to maybe prevent a lot of deer hunting and maybe some bullets shooting around somewhere. So I think that's something that the residents really appreciate. I talked to the ones that were asking for that, and they're very appreciative. So thank you all very much for doing that.
Thank you, sir. Any additional council member comments? City attorney comments?
No comments.
City clerk comments?
Quick, okay, you guys, if you could bring your code books to the next council meeting, so we can get those updated for you. I'm expecting the codifications any day. I'm also gonna need you guys just to be aware and respond to your emails that I'm gonna be sending you out. I need to do the sign-up list. In particular, I need a volunteer to be the planning commission liaison for January. And then finally, that's it.
All right, just a reminder, budget meeting tomorrow at 6 p.m. in the Blue Room, open to the public. If you're wanting a riveting time, please feel free to join us. Also, if you haven't had a chance to meet Mr. Thornton, the incoming city attorney, after this meeting adjourns, please take a moment to say hi and introduce yourself. If there's nothing further, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. I've got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say yes. Yes. All opposed, no. Motion carries.